Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to give a basic introduction of SPSS. The word SPSS stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. This software normally deals with cross-sectional type of data where we collect data from multiple cross-sections at a single time period. So in this video, I am going to start with some basics where I teach you about the SPSS workspace, how to create variables, how to enter the data, how to import the data file. So if you people are ready, let's get started. Let's start the process by opening the software in our computer. I am going to use IBM SPSS Statistics version 25, but if you people have any other versions like 22, 23, you can still learn some basics with me. So let's open the software. It is opening. So just dismiss this splash page so that we can work on. Okay, in SPSS, there are two view modes, variable view and data view. As you can see, there are two different tabs at the bottom of the page, variable view and data view. So first of all, we have to go to variable view and create some variables, the variables that we want to work on, and then afterward we can go to data view tab, and here we have to enter the data for the variable that we have just created. So as you can see here, these columns in the data view tab, these are some inactive columns, so it represents variables. Here you can see they are inactive because we have not created any variable yet, so therefore it is inactive. And the rows here, these rows represent the participants, the different participants. Similarly, we can go to the variable view tab. Here the rows represent the different variables and the column represents the different properties of the variables. So suppose I am going to use these two questions to create variables in SPSS. So as you can see, the first question, gender, here there are two options, male and female. As you can see, each responses, each option is assigned with some number, like male has 1 number and female is assigned as 2. So basically these are the process of codification. We have to codify each qualitative responses into some numbers, some numeric values, because we can only enter the numeric form of data in the data view spreadsheet. Because in SPSS we can only SPSS only deals with numeric form of data, numeric values. So before entering the variable, we should know, we should have to codify each responses, each qualitative response. So let's start how we can create the variable in SPSS. It is very simple. Just go to the variable view. In the first cell, just write down the name of variable. So my variable name is gender. I will have to write down the name here and press enter. So the first variable has been created. While creating variable names, you have to consider a few things, such as you cannot use spaces, you cannot use special characters, you cannot start the variable name with some numbers, and each variable should have unique names, should be unique. Like you cannot give similar name to different variables. Now similarly, I'm going to create another variable, and my another variable was a question. I have to work under pressure, so I am going to give a short form to that question as V1, like V for variable and 1 is question 1. So I press enter, and as you can see, the second variable has also been generated. So let's see the different properties of variables. So here in the name column, you have to write the abbreviation, the short form of the variable, and in the label column, you can give the explanation of that abbreviation. For example, gender, so I can write it down the full form here. I can give explanation that it's respondent's gender. So let's just write down the explanation. Respondents gender. And in the second part, what is V1? So I have to give explanation. So what I will do, I just copy the entire question here. I have to work under pressure. Right? So in the name column, you have to write just the abbreviation, and in the label, you have to write full form. You have to give explanation here. Now, as you can see, the second column, which is about type, this is the type of variable. So you can just click the cell, and there is an option. Just click the option. There is a window. You can see variable type. So there are different variable types. For example, if you're collecting data in the form of date, so you can go and select date here. If you're collecting data in the form of dollars or in some currency, you can select the respective options. But here there are you should know two things. You should know the difference between numeric and string option. By default, normally we use numeric, because normally we use numeric form of data here in SPSS, so therefore we use numeric variable type majority of time. But if you are going to use a string, it means that you are not going to use that particular variable, the variable that you want to select as a string. You are not going to use that particular variable in your analysis. For example, registration ID. So if you are going to ask registration ID from your respondent, so normally we don't use registration IDs in analysis, so we put that variable as a string. We are not going to use that variable. We have just used it for the recognition. We are not going to use this that particular variable in any sort of analysis, so we put that variable as a string. But normally if you select a string, you cannot use variable in analysis, but if you select numeric, you will be using that variable in any sort of analysis, right? So here I'm going to use both the variable in my analysis, so I'm not going to put string here. I'm not going to use string option here. I'm just going to use numeric option and press OK. So now another option is about values. Here you have to define values, the codes that you have just assigned, you have just given to your responses. You have just assigned codes to your responses, so you have to define each code here, that what does it mean. For example, 1 is equals to male and 2 is equals to female. So here you have to define to SPSS that 1 means male and 2 means female. So by clicking this option, you can define value as well as label. So here in the gender, I have two options, male and female. So I have assigned one number to male option. So I will write 1 in value and male in label, and I will add this. And in the second option, I assign 2 number to female. So let me add this and press add and press OK. So now SPSS, it is defined to SPSS that 1 means male and 2 means female. Similarly, you can do this for the second question. Here I have 5 different options. 1 means strongly disagree. So you can write each options one by one. Strongly disagree and then add disagree. 3 is for neutral. 4 is for agree, and 5 is for strongly agree. So one by one you have to define each values here for each variable. Now you can see another option here, measure, another column here, measure. If you can click the cell, you can see there is a drop down list and there are 3 options: scale, ordinal and nominal. These are the level of measurement. What is the level of measurement of your variable? In order to understand what is the difference between scale, ordinal and nominal, and what is basically the level of measurement, you can watch my another video, so that after watching this you will be able to understand what is the difference between scale, ordinal and nominal. So here you just have to select the appropriate option. Let's say it is nominal and V1 is scale. So now I'm done with the variable, the creation of, I've created the variable. Now I'm ready to enter the data. So for example, my first responses of my participant, like first response is 1. Let's say he's male, then 2, then 1, then 2, 2, and I'm just randomly entering the data. This is the way you can enter the data. Let's say this the respondent number 1 answered this question as 3, 2, right? So this is the way you can create the variable and you can enter the data. Now in the last, we will learn how we can import the external file into SPSS. Suppose I have already created one spreadsheet in the Excel format. This is the data I have collected from my respondents, and now I just want to import this Excel file, this external file, into SPSS. So let's see how we can import the external file. Importing the data file in SPSS is very simple. You just have to go to File. There's a third option, Import Data. There are multiple format file you can import in SPSS. Like you can import Excel sheet, CSV data, text data, stata, and so on. So here I am going to import Excel file. So let's click on Excel. This is the file that I want to import. So let's just select it and open the file. And press. Okay, after opening the file, as you can see, the Excel sheet data has been imported here. So you can see the variable, it is automatically created, and you can see the data, it is automatically entered, right? So now you're ready to use the file for further analysis. Thank you.